Another day, another dollar, people. Wake up. It's the middle of the week, Wednesday, here on Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy. We're here to give you all your best sporting advice and, of course, recaps of great games that have played out throughout the week. I am your host, Chet, and to my left is my counterpart, Duffy. Duffy, as I say as usual, how are we doing this week, my friend?
Chet, how are you doing today, man? It's a pretty good day. Happy hump day, my friend. A lot of good baseball ahead of us, a lot of good football ahead of us. And I made some dough this weekend betting on these games. Good slate of games, like you said. And I like the gel in here. I like the nice slick back with the headset.
I can't say I gelled my hair in any way, but it's just the way the shower works. Someone just texted me this out of the.
It's just the way
okay,
your hair
whatever.
washes, I guess.
Yeah, it's just the way my hair washes. It's whatever. Anyways, going into this week 7 concluding here in the NFL, and we are on to week 8. But to just go back into week 7 and give a quick replay, we're going to talk a little bit about the Patriots because, of course, the Patriots having a monstrous victory, 54-13 over the New York Jets at Gillette Stadium. The Patriots were everywhere in this game. It was all Patriots throughout it. I mean, one of the first scorers of the game, a 25-yard pass from Kendrick Bourne to Nelson Aguilar. It was a beautiful play for 25 yards. And the rest of the game, it was really just lopsided. Mac Jones hitting his first 300 mark, 307 for 2 touchdowns, was sacked once on the day. And then Damian Harris and J.J. Taylor have a day, 14 carries, 106 yards, and 2 touchdowns from Harris. And Taylor with 9 carries for 21 yards and 2 touchdowns. A big story to talk about in this one was Zach Wilson knocked out of the game early. He was 6 for 10 on the day for 51 yards. And it was on a sack that managed to push him out of the game, and he will miss several weeks as a result. Last night, the New York Jets did trade a couple days ago, the Jets did trade for Joe Flacco as to bolster their quarterback depth. He was their starter last season for some time. Mike White in the game, 20 for 32, 202, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. So, Duffy, let's talk about what your biggest improvements you saw from the Patriots this week.
It was all we thought it was going to be. It was going to be a pick-me-up game, and it really was. They ran the ball well right off the bat. Damian Harris, over 100 yards, 106 yards, a couple scores. Mac Jones, he's just rookie of the year offensively, in my opinion. To this point, just the best rookie quarterback in his class thus far. First completion percentage, first in yards per game. He's 9th in the league in passing yards. Did you know that? I saw that today.
Who?
Mac Jones.
He's 9th?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Almost 1,800 passing yards. He had 1,779, but
you're right. He is 9th in the league, which is crazy to, as you were saying, to come from a rookie.
Especially because everyone says he just throws check downs and just takes easy completions, but it works.
Yeah.
And it's all what Patriots football is all about, and that's what the whole game was about. Just a balanced offense, balanced attack, passing and running both sides of the ball, and just giving the team some momentum, ahead of a tough challenge in Los Angeles next week.
Absolutely, and we'll get to that as we go forward. But the Patriots defense definitely looking very solid in this one. Only 2 interceptions on the day, one by J.C. Jackson, one by Kyle Duggar. And then when you look at the defense,
both were insane. Both were insane too.
Miles Bryant and then Daniel Ekulier each had a sack in the other on Sunday for that game. So I think one of the biggest things we're seeing out of here is Mac Jones knows how to spread the ball, and he spreads it well. As you look through the stat line, I mean, Brandon Bolden having himself a big day, almost threw him under the radar. 6 catches for 79 yards and a touchdown. He had no gain on the ground, but through the air, it shows that despite losing James White for the season, the Patriots still have a guy they can check down to and actually be successful. I think Brandon Bolden's going to take over that role just nicely as we look into him more. But somebody else I think the Patriots really need to get the ball to a lot more is Jonnu Smith, because Jonnu Smith has proven that if you can target him and get him the ball, he's a guy who can just break open downfield. He's got the speed. They'll use him in the rush game time to time.
They use him in the red zone more.
They need to use him in the red zone more. I mean, Hunter Henry, all hats off to him, having himself a touchdown day on the other day, 2 catches for 23 yards. And Jonnu Smith, he had 2 catches in the first quarter, and that was the last thing we saw from him. I'm pretty sure one of them was for at least 40 yards. So I really think they need to start figuring out some types of schemes and routes to get him invested. And, of course, happy Halloween to all of you viewers. That will be this week. So by next week, we will be in the month of November. So Halloween coming up very soon. Hence why Tim is wearing the wig. I wish I'd thought of that.
Just for some clarification, I did not get a perm. I'm not trying to be a goofball. I'm trying to celebrate the holidays and just wear a wig, man.
But, Tim, your opinion on my Jonnu Smith take?
Jonnu Smith, I mean, yeah, they got to get more involved in the offense because I'm tired of seeing these just 1-yard screen plays to him. Don't really do anything. They've given him some handoffs here and there. He's an athletic guy. He can go up and make catches. We saw all the time in Tennessee. We saw him make that excellent touchdown catch in the divisional round 2 years ago in Baltimore, the one-handed grab. I mean, he's an athletic guy, and they got to get him more involved, especially in the red zone because Hunter Henry now, 4 touchdowns in 4 straight games. 1 touchdown in 4 straight games.
Yeah.
And he's gonna be getting a lot more attention from the defense down there. So you're gonna have to get Jonnu Smith some looks, utilize him for what he's known to be, a red zone threat. That's what he was known in Tennessee. He's only got 1 touchdown this year.
Yeah, and it just feels for the most part that the Patriots really like to use him more in the blocking scheme as opposed to the passing scheme where he's proven that's his bread and butter.
Yeah, and he was the higher paid tight end too out of the 2 of these guys. Don't forget.
Mm-hmm.
So
as the season goes on, but New England Patriots taking the road this week. They're going to be on a 2-game road set, and it starts off first stop in Los Angeles up against Justin Herbert and the LA Chargers. Justin Herbert right now 11th in the league in passing yards. He did have a bye week, but he's thrown 14 touchdowns and to his 4 interceptions. So it's going to be a tall task. These are 2 young buck quarterbacks who are going to see dominate this league for years to come. And right now, the favor does lie in the favor of the LA Chargers with a -5 on the spread right now. So going into this week, Duffy, I mean, what do the Patriots really have to start looking for with
First
this?
of all, I just want to let everyone know that the Patriots +5 is a lock this week. And you should bet the house on it. That's a lock. It's too many points to give Bill Belichick. You know, in a game in which you have to remember last year the Patriots went into LA and won the same matchup 45-0. You know, with an incompetent offense at the time, an offense that really struggled last year. Went to LA this year. Sure, the Chargers are a way better team, differently coached, looking a lot different. But this game is going to be close. I think it's going to come out of the wire. I think it'll be similar to when the Chargers played Dallas. A lot of defense. There's going to be some, crucial turnovers or crucial moments in the game. And every point's going to count in this one. I think it's going to be really close. And I want to see the Patriots going to go in there and upset them. It's a biased pick, obviously, but win this game, we got to establish the run game early because that's what we did last year when, we traveled to Los Angeles to play the Chargers. Those first couple of drives, pounding the rock and just getting down the field really easily. It's Damian Harris. I think he's due for a big game this week against the Chargers team that as we've seen in recent weeks has struggled against the run. Against the Browns, obviously almost over 200 yards rushing, I think, on the ground that game. Against the Ravens too, got blown out 34-6. So Chargers, this is a big statement game for them against Bill Belichick coach team and the Patriots, and I think it's going to be back-to-back losses for them.
I like what you have to say about that right there. That's an interesting take right there, and I think. When it comes down to the Patriots right now, I think the main X factor they're going to have to look for in that Chargers offense is going to be Austin Eckler. Austin Eckler has been without a doubt one of the most dominant running backs in the NFL right now in terms of what he can do in scrimmage. Right now, 7 total scrimmage touchdowns, 4 on the ground, 3 through the air. He only has 356 rushing yards and 242 receiving yards, but when you get down into the red zone, Austin Eckler is the check down guy, the guy they really want to get the ball to get him running to the end, get a touchdown. And for the Patriots They're going to have to really lock down him. But the problem is this Chargers offense, besides having Justin Herbert at the helm and Austin Eckler, is going to be a tall task to take down because you still have Keenan Allen. You still have Mike Williams, who really is emerging this season as a very key piece to this offense, despite being injured the last few seasons. So it's really for the Patriots, it's going to come down to that defense locking up Herbert and making sure he can't get his pass options open. And then for the Patriots, they got to keep that ground game going, and they got to give Max something to work with, but also do what they do with those trick plays that Josh McDaniels somehow can draw up, because this offense can be lethal when it's got a chemistry and a rhythm throwing, and especially when they throw a wild card at you that you're not expecting.
For sure. It's a great way to put it. Especially last week, we saw a couple trick plays early on from the Patriots. A lot of trick plays. This team's capable of just pulling some stunts. We've seen it for years now. And Chargers,
and it seems like they have a new one every week.
But the Chargers got a lot up their sleeve too. We got to be ready for those sneaky fourth down conversions, fourth down attempts they're going to try to pull out from their own side of the field. 2-point conversions that might come randomly. We've seen a lot of Madden-esque coaching from the Chargers this year, and against the Bill Belichick coach team, one miscue could really hurt them, could really harm the rest of the game.
Yeah, it really could. It really could. So, I mean,
what's your score prediction, Chet?
I was just going to get to that. If I had to take anyone in this game, it's going to be a tough one. My first initial thought is, hey, maybe the Patriots, it's just going to be one of those seasons where we're going to see them kind of take a step back, as opposed to most years when they're aggressively really driving forward, and we just see them on the cusp of a Super Bowl berth. But now it's back to square one, and we're at the cusp of a wild card or even a playoff berth. Right. So if I'm and even the Chargers here, this is the best the Chargers have looked in the last few years that we can say. Yeah. They seem to have tossed out
2018.
Yeah, it seems like they've tossed out these inconsistencies, especially with that head coaching change, getting rid of Anthony Lynn. That was something that was really holding them back, was having him coach them down the stretch. But I'm going to go with the Patriots this week. I just think after a really big pick-me-up game where we saw the offense display what it's capable of when it's at full steam, I think we're going to see the Patriots sneak one in here, and I think they're going to catch the Chargers off guard, and they're going to keep it close, and they're going to make sure – I mean, Herbert's going to have a day. He's still going to have a strong day, but I think it's going to come down to the wire. I think we're going to see a final score in this one of 26-24 Patriots.
Wow, I like that. I'm going to say 29-15.
Ooh. But who's the victor? Who's the victor?
The Patriots are going to get themselves back on the map this week.
Oh, boy. I hope so.
They're going to get themselves back on the map. Mm-hmm. +5 is a lock. Take it while you can.
This is a big game for the Patriots.
It's going to move. It's going to move. That line's going to move.
It's going to move. And the thing is, Patriots are desperate to move themselves to 500 on the season, but the Chargers, they still want to move ahead in that division with the Chiefs really struggling right now and not being able to do anything productive in their own retrospect. And then they've got Las Vegas on the back of them. So both teams have a lot to lose in this one if they take the loss. But I think the Patriots are going to be fired up for this one. I think they're going to be ready to come into LA and dominate. So that's a wrap on the Patriots this week. We'll get to our locks and picks to finish up the episode, but we're going to talk about some news that I talked on Sunday, and we talked a lot about last year, but it's heating up right now as the deadline approaches this week. Deshaun Watson, his trade talks have gone up tremendously. His stock has gone up tremendously, especially because if he is traded, there was a lot of rumors going into the trade saying, well, if Deshaun Watson gets traded, the league could easily just take him and put him on the commissioner's exempt list. He would be on a paid leave, but he wouldn't be able to play any games during the season, but he would be on a new roster. But as of Tuesday, Commissioner Goodell said on the matter that, I'm trying to look for it. Oh, there it is. That during a press conference on Tuesday, He said he didn't feel he had the necessary information at this point to put Watson on the commissioner's exempt list, as there is an ongoing police investigation. The league doesn't have access to all the information. Watson already has 22 sexual allegations against him. He's already under police investigation, and it's a tricky situation. So, Duffy, to kind of just talk a little bit about the situation before we get into the trade itself. What does this make? How does this make you feel?
It would just be a travesty if this man was able to play football this year. And it's 22 sexual assault allegations. We've seen screenshots of the masseuses and him on Instagram DM saying how he said sorry for making you feel uncomfortable, or if I made you feel uncomfortable. Like, dude, 22 sexual assault allegations, and you would still be able to play if you got traded. I mean, that would make the John Gruden thing. That would make everyone supporter of John Gruden, even more outraged.
Yeah.
After his firing,
and even the league, for that matter.
And even the league too. And because Deshaun Watson, he's a hell of a football player. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
And like you see Ben Roethlisberger, he got suspended 4 games back in 2010 for, I think it may have been 1 or 2. Sexual assault claims, but Deshaun Watson, 22, and this investigation's been going on the last 8 months,
and the dude still might be able to play.
And I think it's just, I don't know, man. I don't. If it's going on this long, you could make the case that like maybe there's really not that much evidence, but at the same time, it's like I don't understand. I think a trade for him is unrealistic. Also.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the morals of it and the rules of letting him play or not, I think him being traded is just, at this point of the year, I don't really see it happening.
Yeah, it would take a lot to make a move happen here, especially for the Miami Dolphins or the Carolina Panthers, who are kind of struggling right now in their seasons. It kind of wouldn't really make sense to bring some guy in out of the blue, because one quarterback does not fix your team as a whole is a problem. Sure, it's going to bolster the team, and you'll win games with him.
Yeah.
But when you look at this, like you said, it brings a lot into retrospect, because here I am as a an avid fantasy player who picked up Deshaun Watson immediately when I heard about the trade rumors and was like, okay, I can use this.
Of course you let a predator on your football team.
All right. First off, I'm thinking as a manager right now.
I would never pick this guy up.
Second, so continuing on the thought, it would be good for fantasy purposes to have him, to use him as trade or to use him as a quarterback. 2, this wouldn't be good because 2 and 3 are going to be not good points, because 2, you have the allegations, which already seem too real to kind of just sweep under the rug. At this point, we all know this guy is capable of being a very deceiving person, and it's not right to let him really get the chance to play this season because of that. Because this investigation is going to take a few more months before they can really start saying if charges need to be filed and handed out for these crimes, because these are serious crimes. And it's really fucked up if the league suddenly decides we're just gonna, we can't really do anything because we don't have enough information, so we'll just let you play. And it's like, dude, we have that. There's evidence that's already public to the people that we can see that it's real. And like you said with Big Ben, they at least suspended him for 4 games. The Texans are taking upon themselves to not let him play as a result,
which is the best decision to do. And I think any other organization in the right mind, even if they do trade for him, would do the same thing until this is the the verdict was made, or the case was closed, if you will.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I'm Tua Tagovailoa or Sam Darnold right now, and I'm hearing about these trade rumors with quarterback in my teams, I mean, I'm feeling a little bit insulted, a little bit,
or even Sam Darnold for that matter.
Yeah, Tua or Sam, yeah.
And it really brings into retrospect what these teams are going to have to give up too, because if you look at the trade that would have to happen, I mean, currently his contract has a no trade clause. The Texans are still working something out, though. They've allowed that to kind of slide at the moment. But looking at what they want, They've reportedly wanted 3 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks in return for him. And the Dolphins already traded their 2022 first-round pick to the Eagles to move up 6th in this year's draft after acquiring the Niners' 2022 first-round pick in a trade to move down from the 3rd spot to the 12th spot. Miami does have a 2023 and 2024 round pick in addition to San Francisco's 2023 first-round pick. So they have
assets.
They have some good assets there, but the problem is do you even want to give it up, especially at this point of the season?
Yeah.
Because right now, let's see, the Miami Dolphins
1-6.
They are 1-6. So this trade makes absolutely no sense for them because what's it going to do? You still have Will Fuller suspended right now or on IR for whatever. And then that team just looks so dysfunctional. It's kind of like,
and they do have mad assets, like you were saying. Like, they can just rebuild through the draft. Building through the draft is key. And
the Panthers,
the Dolphins have drafted well in recent years too.
Yeah, and it just wouldn't make sense to go after one guy because you're not there yet. You don't have everything to really.
There. The Panthers are closer, however. They have weapons.
Yeah, the Panthers sitting at 3-4. Don't have Christian McCaffrey at the moment. He's still out for a few more weeks. Chuba Hubbard's proven he can still be a solid backup. But then offense, Robbie Anderson, DJ Moore, you got those two guys to really look forward to. And that offense itself is set up pretty nice. And even that defense can play well. But I think they'd play even better for a star-studded quarterback like him. And then you'd end up in the same division as Tom Brady. And that's someone you can compete with right there.
Yeah.
But it's tough. For me right now, do I see a trade coming? No, because if we saw a trade coming, we would have known about it more so last week than we do now. It would be kind of out of this world if suddenly a deal is struck, especially with the deadline this close. It could sometimes trades go down to the wire, but this one, I think it's smokescreen.
Yeah. I would agree. And I think it's all a bunch of talk. Just some more headlines. Because Sean Watson, I don't see any way, shape, or form in which he's playing football this year at all. And, it sucks for him, but did to himself.
Yeah.
The Panthers are almost there. I mean, they are really they're one good quarterback away from being a wild card team and being, a good wild card team.
Yeah,
the NFC playoff picture right now is absolutely wide open. The Panthers are still in it at 3-4, healthily still in it. And, Sam Darnold, he's had some bad games. He got benched last week. He's had some pretty bad outings, but 3-4, they're still in it. If they win a few more games, then they could be sitting over 500. Patriots, they will play them in a few weeks in week 11.
So
it'll be a big test.
Yeah, it'll be a big test, but we'll see. I mean, deadline's rapidly approaching. We don't know what's going to happen, but that's that for what we have to say about Deshaun Watson. Now, to move on to one of our final segments before we head to the final segment, we're going to talk a little bit about the MLB playoffs. Right now, into the World Series, Astros defeat the Red Sox. Braves defeat the Dodgers. Each defeat teams 4-2, and now Braves and Astros going head-to-head. Game 1 of the series, Braves take game 1 6-2 over the Astros. Jorge Soler coming up, leading off the order, and homers in the first at his first at bat. 2 runs were scored in the first inning, a run scored in the second, and then 2 in the third to really put them on top, and then an extra in the 8th to really seal the deal. A great game all around from Jorge Soler, and then Freddie Freeman as well, and Adam Duvall all getting in on the action. So, game 2 to be played tonight at 8 between the two teams. This will be the last game played at Houston. The next 3 will be played in Atlanta. So, Duffy, thoughts on this series?
It's going to be a fun series, back and forth affair. This is now 5 straight home World Series losses for the Astros.
Yeah.
They did lose 4 in a row 2 years ago against the Nationals, but I just want to give a quick shout out to Charlie Morton breaking his leg on that ground ball And still striking out 2 people afterwards, putting the team on his back like he was Greg Jennings or something. It was insane.
It really is crazy to me because
That's what adrenaline will do to you, man.
My dad talked to me about it today, and he broke it on the mound and refused to come out and finished the inning and managed to get out of there, giving up no runs, which to me really says a lot about a guy who cares not only just about the sport, but he wants to win. And the Braves, they look like they want to win this year. And so do the Astros. The Astros have been pretty good, but this team, they lose star outfielder Ronald Acuna Jr., who easily could be doing a whole lot in this series, but they managed to make trades for players like Jorge Soler and Adam Duvall, Soler from Kansas City, and then Duvall from Miami, and each are being key pieces in this batting lineup. And the pitching, it still looks solid all around. I mean, there's a lot to look forward to. The unfortunate fact is Charlie Morton will not be able to pitch in the rest of the series. He is out with an injury and probably won't be back until next year.
Yeah, sometime next season. What a win. I had money on the Astros, but I was still kind of happy to see them lose.
Yeah, I want to see this team lose.
I want to see the Braves win the series, just as a baseball fan. Because Astros are probably cheating right now.
Right now, Astros are favored minus 1.5 going into tonight's game. But, I mean, it's kind of tough to really go by, lines in baseball.
Every baseball game it's a 1.5 spread.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous like that.
But for bounce back game. And
I think
this
tonight
is a must win for Houston because
if
you lose this game, that's half a dozen straight home World Series losses.
I think they're going to probably take game 2 of the series, the Astros. I think they're not going to let this one really kind of keep them down. I think they're going to manage to tie it up going into
who's
next
week.
Tonight? Tonight's pitching matchup. Let me go check on the app real quick. It's much easier that way because it's not telling. Oh, wait. No, it's right here. Max Fried and Jose Urquidy.
Bet.
Max Fried's pretty good. Let me see.
Max Fried for Atlanta, right?
Yeah, 14-7 on the year, 3.04 ERA with 158 strikeouts at age 27. And then Jose Urquidy is 8-3 on the season, 3.62 ERA, 90 strikeouts for age 26. So some pretty good young pitching coming into this one. It's going to come down to the bullpens, I feel, because, it's not going to come down to the bullpens because the bullpens have been able to keep each team at bay. The starters is what's killing this team going into the World Series. The starters have just been just killing it.
All over the place.
Yeah.
Say on the mound.
Yeah. It's just strange. A lot of starters this season in the postseason have just not been looking very well settled on the mound. Their command falls pretty early, which tends to happen. But I remember a couple years ago, the Oakland Athletics, instead of starting their starting pitcher, had their relief pitcher come out first, and then they put in the starter. That's
pretty intense.
It's a bold move, but it worked. They won the game. I'm pretty sure the reliever was only in there for 2 innings, but it set up the starter in a great position. When the batters came up, they were like, I don't know how to adjust to this. I just went from seeing like 95 to 99 mile per hour fastballs to suddenly like 85 mile per hour changeups and curveballs that I just can't get a hit on. So I don't know. It's kind of mixing it up, and we'll see.
Good way to go about a game.
Yeah, but it's also going to come down to Houston and their bats because they did this against the Red Sox where they came out pretty cold to start, but they'll probably heat up in the next few games. For me, I don't think we're probably going to get back in time, and by the time the series is over, I think the series might be over by the time we do the show again.
All right. This weekend, our predictions.
I'm going to check the calendar right now just to make sure.
I'm going to say Braves in 7.
Braves in 7. I like
that. Series will still be going on next time we have this show.
It could be. The last game is in Houston next week at 8:09 on a Wednesday. If the series doesn't end before that.
Next show will be Game 7.
I hope so, man. I hope it's going to be a tied series. I'm going to take the Braves too. I love what the Braves have brought to the table this season. I mean, Austin Riley's amazing, Freddie Freeman's great, and then same with the rest of the bunch. But then the Astros have some pretty respectable players. I mean, I don't really like the team in general. Carlos Correa, Alex Bregman, Jose Altuve, Yordan Alvarez, all great baseball players. So I mean, right now, prediction: Duffy and Chet take Braves in 7. We'll see if that is correct as of next week. It could end up being in 6 games. We'll see. But we are now concluding our segment here of the MLB. And now we're going to head into the final segment, locks and picks. Well, not locks and picks, locks and upsets, excuse me. So, Duffy, I'm going to let you start off the night, considering you are leading. Last week, you are leading at 8-4. I am sitting at 7-5. Last week's games we did not call. We had some scheduling issues, so I just took the job of running the show for last week. So, Duffy, it's okay. This week, what do you got? Starting with your lock.
My lock this week, and it's a pretty easy lock. IMO, little Mickey Mouse lock, and I've picked against this team. I think every show we've done. Mm-hmm. I've seen who they're playing. It's whoever the Bears are playing. That's my lock against them. The San Francisco 49ers -3.5.
Bears.
Chicago. Jimmy Garoppolo, 3 straight losses for him at starting quarterback. I don't think he's going to make it 4 this week. I think the Bears are going to stay slow. They have a Niners defense going to come back alive in this one. They're going to eat up Justin Fields. Per usual.
Oh, you're taking the Niners, you said.
Niners over the Bears, yes.
Okay.
So whoever the Bears are playing is the lock. That's the lock.
Gotcha. Okay. Niners
-3.5. Take it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you right there. I mean, these teams are kind of – they're not like – they're similar tier in terms of like where their standings are and kind of their teams as a whole. But my issue is the Bears, because I think it's coming down to the head coach at this point. Matt Nagy has taken this team to the playoffs for several seasons to have them be one and done. And it's proving this year that it's not working out. Justin Fields looks atrocious playing out there. I mean, last week getting killed 38-3 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Granted, they are probably the best team in the NFL right now. Right. However, this team, I mean, Justin Fields can't get over 100 yards. Well, can hardly breach 100 yards in a game passing.
That was tough to watch.
So, I mean, for me, it's going to be a tough week for them. Still without David Montgomery. One big issue I have with the freaking Bears this year is, how are you not getting the ball to Allen Robinson? Because Allen Robinson, he can't get open and save his life.
They're the worst team. They're the worst offense, and the San Francisco 49ers -3.5 is the lock of the century.
It is. It really is. The Bears disgust me. I don't care that they're playing in freaking Soldier Field. This team sucks. I totally agree with everything you just said, Tim. I'm without a doubt taking the Niners in this matchup.
Amen.
Amen indeed. Now, for my pick this week, I'm going Cardinals over Packers. Now, sure. Tim here before the show was telling me, or Duffy, I should say, was telling me, this is a Mickey Mouse pick. I'm going to tell you it's not. The reason why most people are saying it's Mickey Mouse is, A, you don't have Devontae Adams, and B, you don't have Alan Lazard. Both players exposed to each other due to COVID. Alan Lazard being held out because he is unvaccinated and has to go through the league's COVID protocols and test negative for at least 5 days straight. So Aaron Rodgers is a good quarterback, but he is missing some of the biggest pieces you could be asking for, especially going up against one of the hottest and toughest teams in the league. Could potentially be the best team in the NFC that we've seen this season.
They definitely are.
The Cardinals coming into this one at 7-0. They are the only undefeated team in the league right now. Everybody's sitting with at least one loss column. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm telling you right now, the Packers are not going to do it this week. I would have picked Green Bay potentially if they had Devontae Adams and Alan Lazard. But when you have Marquez Valdes-Scantling going out as one of your top wideouts, and your only big piece to go to is Aaron Jones and Robert Tonyan, I don't know, man. I don't know. You're going to Aaron Rodgers, You're going to have to do a lot to shock me because Kyler Murray, with what he has access to, it almost seems unfair with A.J. Green, Rondell Moore, DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Kirk, Zach Ertz now, and then you got James Conner and Chase Edmonds. This team is chasing a championship as we live and breathe at this moment. And I think they're going to head to 8-0 after this week because the sky's the limit for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Devontae Adams thing does give the Packers a really significant lower chance to win this game. I'm going to pick the Cardinals too in a close one, but I do like Packers plus 6.5. I think that's too many points to give Aaron Rodgers, especially on the road.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a lock, but I could see the Packers winning this game. I mean, I saw a stat, Aaron Rodgers is 6-0 without Devontae Adams playing. I mean, all streaks are bound to end, but that's a pretty interesting streak that I never even imagined.
That is pretty crazy.
I think the Cardinals they're much more built to win this game on Thursday. They're going to be at home. They're going to be playing against a short-staffed Green Bay Packer team, and Aaron Rodgers has pulled miracles in that stadium before, but I don't think he's going to do it on Thursday night. I think the Cardinals by 3.
Cardinals by 3, okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, looking at what do you call it? Let's see. Looking at Kyler Murray's stats from this year, 2,002 passing yards already with 17 touchdowns and 5 interceptions.
Many guys are throwing for mad yards this year.
And 3 rushing touchdowns to cap it off.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyler Murray, a big offensive weapon, and he just has too much to really go to. It's going to be tough to see Aaron Rodgers take down this team. So, Duffy, that's my lock for this week. Let's head into the upsets.
All right, I know I gave you a different upset earlier, but I'm rolling with this dude. Mac Jones and the Patriots plus 5.
Wow.
I said
it is.
I said it, man. I think they're gonna go win this game. I'll put N'Keal Harry because it's HD, but give me the Pats, man, on the road. Same thing as last year. Go into LA and win. Shock the world this weekend. Get yourself back on the map, up to 500, and then after that we got the Browns and Panthers. So this is a must-win game with a tough slate of games ahead for the rest of the season, and I think the Pats take it in this crucial conference matchup.
All right, yeah. Like I said, I've already agreed to that, so I'm going to jump into my upset pick. And with my upset pick this week, I don't even know why the Colts are favored in this matchup. It's unbelievable to me. You're at home. That's complete disrespect to your visiting team. I am taking the Tennessee Titans in this one. This is just disrespectful. I mean, I'm going to admit, I was a little disrespectful to the Tennessee Titans starting off this season. I was saying Ryan Tannehill's a bum. I was saying this offense just doesn't look good. Even with Julio Jones and A.J. Brown there, it just doesn't look solid. But they've turned it around with back-to-back wins over the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs. The sky's the limit for this team, too. This team's climbing up in the standings in the AFC and potentially putting themselves in conversation to maybe take the number 1 seed. You never know, baby.
Possibly.
I'm taking the Titans in this one, and I'm telling you, against the Colts, even though it's in Indianapolis, it's not going to be a close one. This team's going to do everything it can to get Carson Wentz off his A game because I don't think Carson Wentz is legit anymore. I really don't think.
Wow, you're saying that after three.
No. I'm fucking with you.
Chet, I think you're dead wrong on this pick. I think
I'm taking the Titans.
I think a 1-point spread is disrespectful to Indy. This is a team that's won 3 of their last 4 games. Should have been 4 in a row. Have they not missed the field goal against the Baltimore Ravens to win the game? And this team's looking really good on the road against the Niners. Outplay them for 3.5 quarters. In all areas of the game. And against the Titans, who have won 2 in a row, they're not winning 3 in a row against 3 good teams. All right, they're the Titans. They lost to the Jets. Again, on the road too. One thing we know about this Titans Indianapolis Colts rivalry is that it's been pretty even the last few years post Andrew Luck. They each won a game last year, blew each other out once, and the Colts already beat the Titans this year. I think the Titans already beat the Colts this year. I think the Colts get one back, make the division a little more interesting. And get within a game of the Tennessee Titans. Give me the Colts at home.
All right, so that wraps up
our bet this week.
Okay, our bet this week is I take the Titans and Duffy takes the Colts.
$10
$10 on the game. And with that $10 bet, we wrap up this week for Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy. Thank you all for tuning in once again. And if you are interested and you want to hear us call some high school football games this weekend, go to fansonlysports.com and click your watch live button in your top right corner, or go to Fans Only Sports Network on YouTube and you can watch any live stream games that are going currently or any of the past live stream games that we covered. And with that, that's our final send-off. This has been Unapologetic with Chet and Duffy, and we will see you all next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Have a great night, everyone. Go Patriots, and then go Braves.
Peace.
Go Braves.
Yeah, go Braves.